Here's why my music is entirely self-made. Here's why everything you hear in my music is done by me. Here are 3 reasons why no one else is involved in its making. Coming right up. Number 1 is convenience. Everything that I feel my songs need in them, I find myself able to provide conveniently without the help of others. I don't think this is natural. If it were, I feel like everybody would do it. This is also a reason all my social media profiles will tell you I'm a rapper, singer, producer, and robot. I think this is a result of discipline, but I also think this has to do with resourcefulness. And more importantly, I think that if you are watching this, most importantly, that you can teach yourself these things too. But the only reason I'm resourceful with what I have, if anything, is aside from something underlying like budget or something. Maybe I try something out with what I have. And your music doesn't have to be entirely self-made for you to do something like this. Maybe I try something with what I have, and I think the result is pretty cool. So maybe I'll see if I can make it cooler by trying something different, right? It's a different approach, but I'm using the same resources. And I do that over and over again. And people tell me, well, at least my supporters, my haters, I don't know. But what I do know is that my supporters tell me every song, for the most part, sounds different. And that's because I reevaluate myself relentlessly every time I make a new song. It has fucking nothing to do with my software and equipment. The only reason that's lasted me over 2 years without me having to replace any of it is that I just take good care of it, honestly. Or that I just don't bother treating it like shit. You guys know those producers who are always buying new software or equipment? I haven't bought new software or equipment in like, I literally don't remember the last time I did. If my music sounds better over time, I'm honestly still 90% likely using the same equipment and software during that time. The only difference is the way I use it. I bought everything in my studio when I had all the money from my first job before I stopped working there and started working at my second job. When I started my second job, after a couple months, I was like, dude, this commute is some bullshit. There were a lot of personal reasons, but eventually I caved in and I was like, I'm gonna make my own studio with all this money and start a new life for myself. Fast forward 2 years later, and here we are in my fucking pimped out studio. It's pimped out to me. I imagine there are plenty of better studios out there. But for my first, I think it's cool. And I wish I could be like, oh, I wake up right next to the most beautiful girl in the world. But in reality, that's not the case most of the time. Most of the time I wake up like 4 feet away from my microphone. And I think that's pretty fucking cool. So there's not really a downside. If I want to make a beat, record a verse, or literally anything involving music, I can do it immediately. And people wonder why I spend so much time in this apartment. This also saves gas money, stress with scheduling things, and you can keep everything in a little box. If I gotta travel, I have a backpack, and eventually I'm gonna be doing more of that. I'll get a suitcase or 2 and put some sort of mobile setup in there. I already have one, honestly, with a computer and headphones. All I'm missing is a dope USB mic or something. I'm not even doing it yet. I'm just brainstorming. Commit first, figure it out later. Convenience. Number 2, it's impressive. Now, a lot of people have this set up for themselves. Maybe they make their own beats. They do all their music and everything. They're a one-man team. And that can be impressive, but I feel like it's only as impressive to others as you are willing to make it. If you buy all this shit and do nothing with it, then you're all talk and you suck shit, in my opinion. And if that's the case, it doesn't have to be like that. I mean, you could start making more beats. You could start mixing and mastering more. There are tutorials everywhere on YouTube. I'm gonna be making them sometime within maybe the next year. You could start writing and recording, and it's really not that fucking hard. However, if you can actually manage to make yourself sound professional, let alone look professional with your studio, people who know nothing at least about this shit are gonna be like, damn, okay. And I'm used to those reactions. I'm almost as used to them as I am to more neutral or even negative reactions. Kind of. If someone doesn't like or care that I spent $7,000 that took me a year to collect on my own on a personal recording studio, you know how many people will in 10 years when I'm a multi-platinum producer? I don't even need to brag. This is just a mindset at the moment, but because of all that, it doesn't make sense for me, in my opinion, to care about that type of shit. What matters is that people who are experiencing it at the end of the day, specifically the ones who are the most impressed, the ones who are most inspired, educated, and entertained, aside from myself, since I'm just, you know, here with them for the ride, those are primarily the people I do it for. Number 3, spillover and overlap in communication. Now, I mentioned in the previous reason that I made $7,000 in a year. I did it working for a plumbing company, but when I was at school for plumbing, the teacher of the class I took, I love this teacher so much, I swear I'm gonna write a song about him in like 2022 or something. But when I was at school for plumbing, the first year, after the basics of like safety and stuff, there were entire task modules before the plumbing ones, and they were about electrical and carpentry. And I was like, what the So I asked him about it, or I think the assistant instructor, and he told me that if you're working on the job and you're a plumber and you're talking to an electrician about the job, it really helps to understand what they're doing and what kind of stuff they're working with, so that they don't have to explain things to you in layman's terms. Basically, it helps so much with communication. So the conversation is easier and there's more understanding on both sides. And this has absolutely nothing to do with music, but you know why I'm explaining it? Because you can easily apply it to music. If you're a rapper and you have experience with mixing and mastering for yourself, or maybe your friends or both, maybe you know about EQing and compression, even a little, and dry and wet vocals, and you tell a producer, it can be really convenient and easy for them. When you're like, yeah, I definitely love the mix, but I feel like the color on the echo is a little high. I like my echo on my ad-libs a little dark to kind of go more with my sound on songs like this one. Or I like my harmonies in the singing to be a little branched out as far as the stereo spread. If you could spread those out a little more, that would mean a lot. So I think when you're working with people, it's really important to be clear about what you want them to do. My conclusion is the more clarity, concisiveness, the faster you can get your request across without them getting confused, having to ask you questions, or waste anyone's time, the better. By the way, the reason I'm saying that regarding working with other people is that even though my music is entirely made by me, any artist could send me a feature and get it back in like a week. Because I don't accept features on my songs, but any artist, I know this may not make sense, but at least part of the reason I do everything for myself is also branding purposes. Okay, so those are the reasons, the main beneficial ones, that I make all of my music. Fucking fruit fly, where the fuck is that fruit fly? I don't like fruit flies. There are many more, and honestly, some dark sides to them, but if you want to know what they are, I may have some videos on them in the near future. What do you guys do? Do you rap? Do you sing? Do you produce? Do you do graphic design? Let me know in the comments. And let me know if there's anything you guys think I should talk about in future videos. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. There are links at the bottom of the description to all my social media. There's also a link to my production kit where you can find all the equipment and software I use to make music. If you buy any, I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos for you guys. Make sure to leave a like if you like it, subscribe if you haven't already. If you could turn on that little bell to receive a notification every time I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me everywhere and I will see you then.